Right, welcome again. If you're watching on the replay, do put hashtag replay so that we know that you've watched. I'm Yoni Ijo, and I'm an adopter and an adopted adult and a social worker. And welcome you to another session with us. Do you want to introduce yourself, Ian?
Hi, folks. I'm Keely Crow. I'm based in Glasgow. Been here for about 11 years now. Because obviously my accent isn't Glaswegian. But I've been a play therapist now for getting on 14 years. And I'm a mum of two myself. My children are very young still. But I've worked overall in different ways with children for, a good 25 years now. So, yeah, not much I've not seen.
I can imagine. And I've worked largely with children in care as a social worker. I've also more recently worked with care leavers, which has given me a really good different perspective of children who, as the Americans say, age out of the system, which sounds horrendous, really, but young people who are 18 and move on to independence. So we wanted today to have a sort of recap the play challenge and also talk to you about working with us further. So, yeah, I know I've done a couple of play activities, although my young person is now 18. She was 18 last week. And so, her tolerance for play is probably not that brilliant. But we've gone on trips and walks out, and I've really enjoyed it. And we also did some art, which was cool. How about you, Keely? What have you been up to?
Yeah. My test was probably slightly easier, as in my children are very much of the age where they're happy to play, and they do that quite a lot. And it's been really interesting just to kind of try it myself. And I know last Thursday when we spoke, I'd done a lot of art and craft, and I have to say that is not a usual day here in the Crow household. So a play therapist, my children get kind of bathed in all these amazing art and craft and play activities all the time. But I found it really interesting, and just to kind of take the time to do it and kind of reflect on it. So I think because of the children's age and because they naturally want to play anyway, a lot of the activities have happened quite spontaneously. And it's just been really interesting just kind of like jumping on that. And some of the activities, again, because of their age, if I give you the context, they're 20 months and almost 4.5. So, they are really young. So some of it happens quite spontaneously, and some of the activities haven't lasted that long. So I tried the edible sand with my youngest, and probably about 10 minutes was about as much attention that she could give it at the time. Actually, she loves Play-Doh, and she can give that a bit more attention. We tried, one day I had a delivery, and there was some cardboard boxes, and very quickly children kind of like grabbed out this little like child size mop and brush set that they've got, and it became like a bit of a game of like croquet / golf. Again, that kind of just lasted a few minutes, but it was the way it kind of evolved. So it was almost like it moved from like an active play, like sequence, to into imaginative play. So then all of a sudden, my eldest child then used the boxes to kind of imagine that they were suitcases, and he was loading them onto the airplane. And then next minute, I'm pilot, and at first he loves vehicles, so at first he was it's I can't remember what the vehicle's called, but it pulls the plane out onto the runway. So he was that.
Oh, okay.
And then we were flying, on holiday. It was definitely imaginary play. No one's really gone on a plane just now. So but it was really interesting to see how that evolved. And I think with play, often we are talking about kind of like setting out particular times of the day to do it, and I think that's really good, especially when the children are older. And maybe the play doesn't come as spontaneously as it does for the younger
Mm,
children. You know, but also it's about just seizing those moments too, isn't it, where the play is spontaneous and just kind of jumping on
mm,
that. Um, Today it's very snowy in Glasgow, so we went out, and I thought, oh, this will be good. And I thought, I mean, I really shouldn't have taken the pram out. It was quite to the snow, and when I got there, what I'd done is I'd taken lots of just tubs and stuff that I've been saving. I thought I'll take those with me, and we'll see what we can do with those. And that
mm,
worked really well. Is like just making bricks or snow castles. But what I noticed first was like, I'm all quite excited about it and like, oh, come on, let's do this. And at first, they just want to run and roll in the snow and do snowballs and snow angels and stuff. But you know what? After they'd kind of got that initial energy out, they actually came
mm.
back to this, and there was a lot of building stuff and then immediately destroying it, which is again is very kind of of their
Yeah.
age. Um, yeah, but it was interesting, and it was just that that kind of sense that we've been talking about, not to kind of force that kind of play on them, but and it was interesting just to kind of let them go with what they wanted to do, and then actually they
Mm,
came back to that activity later, so that was great. What else have I noticed? My youngest, I mean, I don't know how many birthdays I've had recently, but I've been given an awful lot of birthday cake. But again, it's that age. She's like 20 months old, and it's just like very repetitive play. But there's so much
mm,
learning in that for them. And although she's just young, we could still kind of have this relationship based play time, so she's bringing that to me and I'm showing great excitement about it. We're going through a particular routine. She sings
mm,
part of the words to the song, I blow out the candles, there's a hip hip hooray, you know, and then I'm eating the cake and I'm showing excitement and she's so pleased about it. And there's a give and there's a take in that and there's a building of relationship in that. So um
mm,
I think it's just trying to find, even in those small moments in play, they can
mm,
actually create moments of connection that are really putting down a good foundation and really building our bond and our attachment together. Um,
mm,
and it's so important for children. And on the surface, it looked like a very simple game, but actually there was just so much going on there. My daughter, there's physical development because she's trying to pass me a piece of cake and hold this big wooden cake. You know, there's language development because she's singing, and then there's that give and take in um,
mm,
our conversation together. And she's learning and showing comprehension and developing her language skills. There's imagination there because she's getting to the age where she kind of knows it's pretend. So
mm.
there's so much kind of learning going on there. But it was just those nice moments of connection too.
Yeah.
And the fact that she wanted to do that and sing happy birthday to me and do something kind just shows that kind of want uh, for connection with me as well. So I've really enjoyed. I mean, we're playing all the time, like I say, because of the rage. But this week, to kind of think
Mm,
about it in the play challenge and what we would do, has been really good. One thing I definitely wouldn't do was with the edible
mm.
sand was make sure, a bit like when you run a bath for a baby, make sure you've got everything set out first because I put the sand in front of her, then to get some figures, and the next minute there's a lot of the sand on the floor. So that's one piece of learning to take is that things are spontaneous, and sometimes you've got to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose one of the things that people maybe feel or play, I haven't really got time. How do they make some time? And actually, it's not a long period of time that people need, is it?
No, I mean we've spoken about like making like 2 or 3 times a week, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And those ones that kind of feels like maybe hard to squeeze in. And it's great to be able to do that because I think it gives a really important message to your child or your children when you're doing that. You're saying, this is important and you're important to me. So there's real big
Mm,
messages coming through when we're doing that. But it's also seizing those small moments too with the kids, and just taking that, so it doesn't always have to be planned. It could just be, you might end up playing, for quite a while with something, but you
Mm.
just kind of noticing those moments, thinking, come on, I'll leave the dishes. They can wait a minute. I mean, who needs an excuse really to leave the dishes? But it's like, yeah, I'll put that down for a minute, and I'm going to give this my time. So pick up
Mm.
on the spontaneous moments where you've been invited into play with the children
Mm.
as well. Can be, a great way of kind of incorporating play into your day as well.
Mm. And I suppose there are times when I know, as a social worker, we joke quite often that one of the best times to have a conversation is in the car, and so you
Mhm.
can sort of steal those times, and maybe have a I Spy game or something like that. That you don't have to sort of carve out that time, or they can decide what sort of word games you use.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's opportunities to play all the time, so the car is a great one. Something about a car, isn't it, that just makes people kind of feel, I guess maybe you feel a bit cocooned and you feel a bit kind of safe.
Mm.
So it's great, isn't it, to actually watch someone in the queue of traffic behind you actually like singing playing a song on the radio, and probably in a way that they'll never do normally, but in the car they feel safe, and I think there's like a sense of safety often for children in there, and it's a time
Yeah.
you're all kind of stuck in the same lump of metal together. So you can make the most of it. There's so many games you can kind of see, and often
Mm.
that's how children kind of just feel a bit more relaxed to chat. It's a good time. We spoke last week about singing and dancing, so it's a great time to have a sing song in the car together as well. It's just been, it, it's trying to just try and make, like, I guess, not just like that it's a chore, it's a job or something to do, like, right now, let's go and play and do this, but just to try to weave it into your day, I think, as well. And part of that is that just being playful and just finding those moments, doing the
Mm.
silly dance, or both like singing to like a favorite song on the radio. It's weaving those kind of things in, because when the children see you do things like that, it gives them a permission if they feel a bit kind of reluctant to engage in
Mm.
things like this. It gives them the permission, and you're modeling it and saying this is okay, it's safe, and it's
Mm.
fun. Um, and it can really enhance a relationship. Um, you know, to be like that, and to be, you don't have to do it all the time, but because sometimes you really do have to have like that kind of serious parent happen. But you
Yeah.
show a playful side of you too. That you're not just a one-dimensional. Um,
Mm.
you've got other playful and creative elements to you too. It's important for you, but it's important for your children to see as well.
Yeah, and particularly now, I was reading about how much people are struggling in the it's coming up to a year of essentially of lockdown, and people are really, adults finding it difficult, and so experiencing play, or just having a good time, trying to snatch
Mhm.
those little games and laughs and jokes. It's quite important, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Just so much, doesn't it, for our well-being actually, to kind of play and to have that sense of connection with other people, and play and being creative like that. Really helps us feel that we've still got a connection, even when we're maybe living in quite isolating
Mm.
circumstances. There's certainly not much outside of the home, is there, in terms of
Mm.
activity and things that would stimulate us normally. Especially when you've got children, all the activities have gone, all the soft play, things like that have
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
and who knows how many will come back really after
that's right.
a year of enforcement.
That's right.
Um,
Let's hope it does come back. And they're certainly be chomping at the bit for it, because the
yeah.
pieces are actually there, isn't it? But I think when actually, I kind of miss those things too. So although they're very like child orientated, for me that was it. It made my day more interesting too, and I was getting different kinds of interactions as well with other parents and other
Yeah.
children. So Yeah, it's a big thing to miss out on, and if you're not a parent and you're just a single person, or maybe you're just in a couple with no children, it's hard going. It's all the things you normally
Mm,
do, going out for a nice meal or going
mm,
to a concert or something. All those things have been taken
yeah,
away, and it can put
yeah,
pressure on individuals or couples, and we don't have those usual
definitely.
to kind of keep us stimulated and entertained.
Mm. So, if people have enjoyed sort of our discussions and see that they want to go deeper with us, we're in the process of leading up to a wider course, and I wondered whether you want to talk about what we'll cover in that, Keely.
Yeah, so the course, it, Yoni and I refer to as our long course, because we've been doing lots of kind of teaching through different live sessions, and you're able to pick some of those live sessions up um, already in recorded version. But what we're really hoping to do in this longer course is really kind of go deeper into a lot of the things that we've talked about, and to really kind of I guess, strengthen that message about how important play is, and also how play can really improve your relationship with your child. So, we'll be looking a little at play, and then I want to look at the context of play for a child who has been adopted or is in a foster placement, uh, because play for them is often set in a slightly different context. So I want to think about what happens when play is kind of disrupted, and how can you help to kind of get that back on track. Uh, so we'll be looking at that, trying to develop your own confidence with play, because as we've spoken about before, often we as adults maybe didn't have great play experiences, or we have had experiences that make us feel a bit kind of shy or embarrassed or exposed, uh,
Mm,
when we're asked to play. Uh, so we're looking at that. So trying to kind of boost your confidence with play as well. So the first half of the course, is really kind of exploring play in the context of the child, improving like your kind of confidence with play, and also looking at things. I think a lot of the time when certainly in my experience when I used to work with people who looked after children in residential care, I used to teach a course about play, a slightly different style, but everyone was so worried that the play like that would open a can of worms, or the children would get violent and they wouldn't know what to do, or they would say
mm,
stuff and they wouldn't know how to respond. So we're going to look about how to make those play experiences safe, um, so we can all kind of feel comfortable and kind of get a good experience out of that. It's important that the child feels safe in play, but it's also important that you feel safe in that too. So, to give you that kind of preparation. Okay, what if this happens, or what if that happens? So
mm,
we're kind of looking into that, and then we're going to really look into kind of how we then kind of like structure these like relationship based play sessions. So we'll be giving you lots of kind of tools on how to kind of set that up, how to listen to a child actively, how to respond to them, because I think that's also sometimes what we're worried about is like, well, what do I say back? And, what if I
mm,
say something wrong? We're looking at that. And then at the end of the course, we'll be kind of all coming back together and kind of reflecting on our learning. And Yoni and I are here always just to kind of support you on that journey. Um, so as we're kind of going on this journey together, near the end of the course where we're starting to look at the structure of it, you'll also then be kind of trying some play sessions for yourself. And so then we can kind of create a time in the group for questions and answers, and we can kind of reflect on what's gone well, and what maybe you found difficult. So by the end of the course, you should have like a much more robust kind of feeling about play, and how to kind of use and facilitate play. And I would
mm,
really hope by the end of the course, you'll be at least starting to see glimmers of change in your
mm.
children. Um, sometimes for the children, they kind of find can find play difficult because of the past experiences. So at the very least, I would be hoping it'd be starting to see glimmers of change, and a
Mm,
strengthening in your relationships, and maybe a growing confidence in yourself and your child or children, because that's what
mm,
play, is so good at doing. And when the children feel heard, it can be transformational, and this is really giving
mm,
you a chance. Um, to try and hear your children and really listen to what's going on. I think quite often what happens in for children who have been in foster or have been on that journey that has led to them being in foster families or with an adoptive family. It's a lot of the stuff that actually happens. They end up being like a bit pathologized for it. So everything maybe
right.
gets a bit over-examined and overlooked into, and then there's a lot of referrals to CAMS and a lot of social work support, and that's fine. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with CAMS or anything like that, but I just think sometimes having these tools of play and listening to children,
Mm,
giving them that sense can actually be really helpful and stuff. And it's
mm,
maybe sometimes just normalizing some stuff for children instead of trying to see it as unusual. When you can
mm.
listen and play those things out, it maybe gives a different kind of perspective, and you can see your child in a different way when you can understand what they're trying to communicate. Play can
Yeah,
really help with that.
I think I've supported a lot of carers where maybe they think that CAMS all that one-to-one in the therapeutic role will fix the child almost, and that perhaps they don't have to do anything or make any changes themselves. And actually, it's a combination. And sometimes you can really see where the adult's behaviour is creating the behaviour of the child, which is
Mhm,
then creating more behaviour from the adult, and it becomes a cycle
mhm.
that has to be broken really to move on.
That's right. And you know what? We discussed this kind of off air a while ago, Yoni. It was about how this course is about making like techniques that just feel a bit more like part of a family routine and day. So again, often if you go to like psychologists or other professionals, they might be kind of giving you certain strategies to try out and stuff, but it might not feel kind of natural. It's like you're trying to apply psychology all the time, and it
Mm,
can be a bit jarring or it doesn't quite work. And what I'm hoping with this is that it just feels a bit more kind of comfortable and just part of like just everyday kind of family things. So there's no stickers and or carrots and
yeah.
sticks, as we call it. It's just something that, and once you've got it, you've got it. We can't take it back. It's a skill that you can take with you. So
Mm,
it's long lasting. I know sometimes we put effort into something and then it slips a bit, but it's the kind of thing that when you see it slip or your child's looking a bit wobbly again, then it's like, all right, come on, let's start up these play sessions again. So it's a tool
mm,
that you always have, and play is ever evolving. So it's not something that will only last your child till they're 6, say.
mm, mm.
It will keep rolling on. And even yourself, you've done great this week. You've managed to even find ways to kind of connect and be playful, with your daughter who's just turned 18. So, it's we're giving
Yeah.
you something here that'll last you a long time. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm thinking obviously this is suitable for any adopter or foster carer, but I'm thinking that new adopters and foster carers would really benefit from it. And families where a child's just being placed, perhaps
mhm.
in that introduction stage, would that be a suitable time to do it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it might be a bit difficult to do the actual, unless you've got like another relative, another child relative that you can grab, or a friend with who's willing to share their child to like guinea pig. Eh, um, it will, and I just think to kind of have those skills, and I know that you'd be going to matching panels, and there's a lot of kind of like evidence to provide. I think that really actually kind of just strengthens, your case as
Mm,
potential parents, but it shows that you're willing and you're interested. And I think, that you've not just kind of just thought about these things theoretically and just like read a book about it, but actually that you've
mm,
like really engaged in a learning process, and that you've maybe taken the time, if like I say, if you don't have if you can get like the time to play with another child, that you've given that a try, so and it strengthens you and hopefully makes you feel more confident, because it doesn't matter whatever way you become a parent.
mm.
There's no manual on earth that will give you it all. It will always be a bit of a surprise. But the more tools that you have in your box, the easier, hopefully,
Mm,
the
mm.
parenting journey, will be for you and your child. So
Definitely. And I think a lot of times new foster carers and adopters are very anxious about making a mistake and or getting it wrong or reading so many books that actually they maybe get a bit overfaced by knowing which direction to go.
that's
So
right.
I think it's about making sort of giving yourself a break really and not expecting yourself to be perfection incarnate as a parent because no one is.
Yeah.
One of the other sort of families that would benefit as well are families with children who've got any kind of ADHD or learning disability or behaviour
Uh-huh.
issues, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. And um, certainly in my role as a play therapist, I've worked with children with ADHD and some teenagers who had very complex physical and learning disabilities. And it still works. We did a live session quite a while ago about all my different work with children who are non-verbal in different ways.
Mm,
It definitely works, and they can still definitely be making connections through the play. So yeah, I think what it's quite it's holistic and it's far reaching, and it will be applicable and kind of, I can't think of the right word now, but it'll have value for lots of parents in different kind of parenting circumstances.
okay.
Mm.
And I guess we people asking questions, and one of the questions might be, is this really going to have an impact on my child's relationship? Because it seems too good to be true in a way, and I think that's maybe why people don't always believe that you could invest even just an hour a week and it
Uh,
make any difference.
that's right. I mean, there's always everyone out there, isn't there, like trying to sell you a magic formula. But I think with play, it is tried and tested. People have been doing this for a long time now, and children who had like happy childhoods and have had that, that chance to play and form strong connections through play, go on to have, good childhoods and good adulthoods too.
Mm,
So I think, you've got a lot of experience between Yoni and I. We've got our own children, but we've also worked with a lot of children who may be similar to the children that you're parenting. Um, and so, and I've seen it for myself, how
yeah.
transformational play can be. So, yeah, again, I've not just taught this from like a course and I'm just trying to regurgitate it. I've got like the kind of lived experience of how play
Mm,
can make a big difference to children. So, you know, we're not just trying to kind of just give you a magic potion,
mm,
and I guess that's kind of part of what we'll touch on the start of the course is that kind of undervaluing of play. It's just childish and it's just immature, and because it has no purpose, then
mm,
it mustn't have any value. But actually, there's a lot of value
mm.
in in play. It's just not the kind of value that we put on things like work. That that
Yeah.
have a means to the end. Play play has its own results, but it's different. I think we have a question
Okay.
at the top. I can see a little dock and it says a question and answer regard. Is that a question or is that
Oh,
just in
that's the
there?
title, I think. But I have got a question, I suppose. It's an 8-week course, and it's going to be live. So, and am I going to get an opportunity, or are people going to get an opportunity to sort of have a discussion or interact at the end? Is that?
Yeah, and I think in normal circumstances, maybe Ronnie and I would have travelled to either Manchester or Glasgow, and we would have done this training in a room, and everyone would have been, together, and we'd be making those connections those way. And online is great because we can maybe reach people who aren't in Manchester and Glasgow, but it kind of loses that kind of sense of connection and shared experience. So we're definitely, we want to kind of bring that. So sometimes we might kind of go dip in, and today we're on StreamYard, but we might use Zoom so we can all come in and connect together. People can be asking questions as the training is running, and we can answer those questions. We'll make a designated time at the end for any questions that you might have. So we'll certainly still, find a way, I hope, to kind of build up like a sense of community within the group as well, because I think that's it's really great when people can all come together and share their experiences. And it's nice, isn't it, just to say, Keela, I didn't actually really understand that bit, or do you mean that when you say that?
Yeah.
Or how does that look? So there's certainly opportunity in the group, and hopefully we can do different things, to kind of get that sense of community and connection together.
So the course is £350, and I guess as somebody might say, well, that's a lot, that's a big investment, and how can I sort of justify that? And I suppose what my answer to that would be, if you don't invest that time and that sort of skill and attention to your relationship with your child, then potentially, if things are struggling and creating difficulty, then you might actually have to invest a lot more financially, as well as, more importantly, emotionally, in building that relationship later down the line. I'm just thinking in terms of, one-to-one counselling is, you wouldn't get much more than a few sessions out of that, really, would you?
That's right. And my maths, again, like technology, is not a forte of mine. But really, it's just like less than £1 a day for a year, isn't it? So if you thought about it that way, it's almost like just popping £1 in a jar, isn't it? Every day for a year, and you've got yourself, a course that, that you'll have so many transferable skills and knowledge from it that will last you for years to come.
Yeah, definitely, and lots of support and encouragement, both from Keely and myself and from other participants. So we've got the link is obviously there. It'll be in this comment in the feed, so people can have a look, and we really hope that you're going to want to join us. And the first session of the course is on the 23rd of February. That's when we're planning to start. And so you'll need to get in before then. And really hope that you're going to enjoy spending a bit more time with us and playing and talking about play and building that attachment with your child. Anything you want to say, Keely, before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I just think it's just, I've probably said quite a lot already, but I just think, you know, it will be of great value to, you know, so, you know, we're well experienced, you know, and we've got good intention because we want the best for you and your children as well, you know, and so we're making a really robust course. You know, it's not going to be heavy on theory. We'll dabble a little bit, but really, I just hope it just feels like a really just approachable and accessible course. You know, we realise
Definitely.
we're all people, so you know, we're making it informative, but not too heavy. You know, it's going to be in the evenings, so you know, you know, I'm kind of hoping it'll be like a nice chocolate pudding. So you know, small. Very much dense, so just a little bit at a time. Yeah, but at the end of it, you'll feel like you've got a lot out of each mouthful. You know, and it'll just feel very satisfying. That's my aim.
That sounds good.
The chocolate pudding and play. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I think that's a brilliant way to round us up. So we really hope that you're going to join us at the in the play course. The link's there. Sign up, and the places will be limited, so you didn't need to sign up quickly. And we'll see you there. So thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Keely.
you.
Take care. Bye bye.